First of all, I'm very glad to be here this evening to support and endorse this piece of legislation brought forward by Deputy MacDonald and Deputy Louise O'Reilly. The prospect of a person who is, and in most cases we know it's women and children who are the victims of domestic violence, but sometimes it can be men, but in general it's women, and they are most vulnerable in these situations and find that they can be in an absolutely catastrophic situation when they find that their only place of refuge very often is their workplace. And to find when they are in a crisis situation like this, that if they have to take time off work in order to deal with a terrible situation, that there is no support there from them, I think is a very terrible situation to have in a modern society. And I think this bill goes some distance to try and show that the state recognises that and understands that. And I want to welcome the Minister's support for the bill this evening, and I understand that the Government is going to support it and bring it on to second stage. And hopefully it will pass through the Houses of the Oireachtas speedily, and that we will, hopefully in the short term, have this piece of legislation in place. But I think it is very much, and I absolutely respect that the Minister will accept, that it is only the start of much more that needs to be done in the context of all of this. We all have dealt with people in our constituencies and across the country who have been the victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse as well, and we understand that there is a huge gap, a huge vacancy in the services there, and much of this service is provided by voluntary and charitable organisations who are struggling to try and provide a service. There needs to be more funding in place, particularly for the refuges for women have to run to, where they're continuously turning people away. And as we come now close on the days of Christmas, we're always conscious that that's a time of year when they are particularly under pressure. And I think at this time of year, Minister, it would be appropriate to also look at that and to see what additional assistance you can give to those refugees to ensure that they don't have to turn anyone away, particularly in this situation where we have COVID and the stresses there's in households where there is huge pressure on women and children to try and cope with domestic violence and coercion and the huge control which sometimes abusive people can have over their lives. So I think this legislation goes some distance to that. We're also, of course, aware that many women are also in very precarious employment and in difficult situations where their job is the only thing that they have any control in their lives. And making sure that that is a place not only of refuge where they can feel that they can be secure, but is also somewhere where, if they have to, that they will be getting some level of compensation for the time that they need to take off, sometimes because of physical injury, as well as trying to cope with a situation. So I think, Minister, it is welcome that you're supporting this bill, but I think there is so much more need to be done. But I think it is a good start as we move into the days of Christmas that we are doing something for this very vulnerable sector of our society.
Thank you, Deputy.